part of the gift of feminism was this whole concept, which came out of lesbian feminism, that the personal is political.
That's right.
You know, and it's not to say that straight women didn't understand that as well, but that was at the center of our music, you know, so, and it was also controversial. So, you know, some of the songs that I sang that were, let's see, what was the language that was used? Introspective, or what's that language?
Confessional?
Yes, exactly. Confessional, but not in relation to another person, but in relation to myself, some kind of a awareness exploration, some kind of personal seeking of one's soul, if you will. I mean, I never would have used that language, but yeah, to get interested and to have a language in music. And again, for me, all three of those women, I heard in their music, I heard in the way that they wrapped themselves around their songs, such a soulfulness, such a wide open, every song had some aspect of a soulscape in it. And it just made it possible for me to write about anything I wanted to, you know. So when I first met Jean Cordova, who was the publisher of the Lesbian Tide.
That's right.
You know, one of the first things she said to me is, you know, Marg, I really like your music. I mean, I think, you know, there's whimsy in it, and there's, you know, these love songs are really beautiful, but, you know, where's the anger? Where's the politics? And I said, well, I mean, this is early. What do you mean politics? Are you talking about like freedom in the key of G? Are you talking about some kind of blunt, square, kind of like I'm not a service station kind of song? And she says, yes, like something like that. And so I wrote, I'm not a service station, which is on, I think, We Shall Go Forth.
Yes.
And I began to perform the song, and the audience flipped out over the song. And I thought, again, I don't want to be identified. This is way too primitive, a musical statement of what it is that I feel. I was busy coming out of my own artistic birthing, if you will. I was learning about myself as I was writing the music, and there was pressure. I wanted to write, you know, the big anthem, and I ended up doing that. But in the early days, I wanted it to be, if I was going to do that, I wanted it to be interesting to me so that I could keep playing it. The thing about I'm not a service station is that it wasn't interesting for me to perform. It went from verse to chorus to verse to chorus to verse to chorus. And I don't know, I couldn't get off. And yeah. But, you know, I think I feel so privileged, really, that the audience in the early days of my work was growing up at the same tempo I was, you know. And in the first, I don't know, several years, I never sat down to write a song. I never did. They came out of me. They came out of me on the freeway driving 80 miles an hour. Yes. Would you like to tap dance on the moon? I was driving from Los Angeles to San Francisco, you know, and I wrote it on the back of a map, you know, and I when I think about it now, I think, you know, it's just boom, download.
Yes.
And I heard that from my sister singer-songwriters, you know, that there was this sense of being plugged in,
Your
really just
channel.
absolutely, absolutely. I could never really take credit for it. I never felt, I mean, I didn't need to. It was coming through me and I was getting to share it. That was pretty great. But I
And you
never
were
had,
available to hear it.
absolutely, absolutely. And I was moving, with Meg and Chris in the early days, with women who were having a very similar experience.